Okay, we're going to attempt to do a little tutorial on Crackle finish. Several people have asked me how I get my Crackle finish, and first of all, it is done using Deco Art's one-step Crackle medium. This is my absolute favorite product. And also, this video will be very much as the way we are. You're going to hear the dog crunching her food in the background and the dishwasher's going. And I happen to be sitting at the kitchen table because I couldn't plug in my hairdryer to try and do this in the studio. But anyway, I've got a couple plaques here. I tried to paint them both very similar. I was just trying to do something real quick. This one is without Crackle medium so that I can show you. This one has Crackle medium already on it, and depending on the light, you may or may not be able to see the crackles already. I'm not sure. But you will later after I put the top step on. If you read the Deco Art instructions, which are very tiny, the number one thing is apply over painted surface. Dries clear in 2 to 4 hours. If you're really impatient like I am sometimes, then a hairdryer can speed that up a little bit. But my absolute favorite way to get it to dry is to go ahead, paint it, and then I actually set it outside for a little while so it's sort of in the sun. I wouldn't do that if it was raining. But anyway, that's the number one thing. It does take a little bit longer. And this goes on after you're done painting. These are ready to go. So that's what you're going to paint on. So these little pieces, honestly, these are scrap pieces that Jerry had told me to toss. They were samples when he was making our light fixture for our country kitchen that he just did. And so I told him I could do something with them. I base coated them both first in just a light buttermilk color. Paint the edge whatever color you want. I used the drywall tape that Lori Speltz has shown before, and then I just stenciled a little bit of background in there with that. And that was done with desert sand. All of these are Americana Deco Art. Used the desert sand, and then I did a little bit of background. I was just going to do a word for you to do it real quick, and then I thought, what the heck, I might as well make it something I can hang up also. So I just threw on a sunflower real fast. This is one of those really easy ones. If you need a filler, these sunflowers are super quick. Then I stenciled on the word believe, because that's something I have to constantly remind myself to do, is to believe that it can be done. And this was also used one of the Creative Coach stencils. She has some great word stencils, and so I used that, put believe on there. I sanded the edges a little bit because the whole idea of using a Crackle like this is that you're going to get an aged finish. And I love the one-step Crackle because it gives you that fine eggshell crackle, which is like an old varnish would do naturally. So here we go. It's super easy. I don't usually squirt it right onto the piece because I have had problems doing that before where it left the squirt marks and I could see them, and I didn't like that. So you just pick it up. If you have an old fat brush that you don't, love to death anymore, but you want to use it for something, you can use that. I actually do use brushes that I still paint with. You just have to make sure that you get all of the crackle out. Don't let it dry in there because otherwise your brush is like a rock. And if you soak it real good for a while, it will come out. But as you see, I'm just brushing it all over my piece. Now, just like with weathered wood or other crackles you may have used, the thicker the area, the deeper the crackle. Thinner makes for a smaller crackle. So get that brushed on, and I know this isn't great in a video, and I'm really sorry, but I have to keep turning it so I can kind of see where I can see it too. I don't use like perfect little strokes. I try to like dab it on different ways because for me the whole point of this is, and I looked at some pieces that I got from my grandmother's, or even pieces when we moved my mom in here, old pieces that they had that have that great old patina that I like, and a lot of that is the old varnishes that will crackle over time. And so that's the look you're going for. So again, I'm sorry to get this out of the camera there because I'm turning it to see where I can see what I've done. I don't want big long brush strokes necessarily. I just want to make sure that there's crackle on everything. Okay, so then sometimes before it's totally dry you can go in and kind of smooth it out a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to throw my brush in water right now. So to speed this up so that you can see, I'm actually going to use a hairdryer, and I'm going to put it on low. This is really boring, I'm sorry. Kick it up to high so that it goes a little quicker. Just don't bake it. Okay, this is not quite all the way done yet, but there is lots of spots that are starting to crackle on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to this other piece that I that I let dry before so that I could show you. Once that crackle is all the way dry, and again, ideally you want to wait a little while. I don't prefer to do it with a dryer, but if I'm really stuck on time, I will. I'm actually just using the same brush right now. This is one of my brushes that I pretty much use just for this. And then in order to see this crackle, you have to put something on top. If you don't put a wash or an antiquing medium on there, you will never see those crackles because they're clear. So I like burnt umber. You can use an antiquing medium, but I just take burnt umber paint, I water it down a little bit, and I brush it over. And hopefully you can see. Can you see there how it's actually gathering in the cracks? That's where the crackle medium has actually crackled. So I'm going to go ahead, brush in some more, get the edges. This is kind of a boring tutorial, I'm sorry. But it's actually very easy to do, and it's not easy for me to do a tutorial yet by myself with my phone in the kitchen. Then all I do is I take a paper towel and I wipe it back off. You can add more or take more off. With using the paint like that, just like you would if you used a medium, it should pretty much wipe back off. And this is really just kind of a wash. And this paper towel, I have one spot on my paper towel that's a little bit damp. That way, like around here where the paint really gathered around the letters and I can't see it as well, I'm just going to rub it back a little bit more there. Now I can tell you that I did not get as much crackle on the piece right there because it's not crackled. It's teeny tiny and you're not going to be able to see it here, but it's not near as crackled there as it is in other areas. You can see a lot more of the crackle around in here because I just didn't get as much on here. So if I'd let it go a little longer or done it a little heavier, I would have, but that's okay. It depends on the look you want. If you want it to be really crackled all over, you need to make sure that when you put your crackle on, kind of move it around, look in the light, and see if it's heavier in other areas. And I was kind of in a hurry and I didn't really do that. So again, if you want to take it off a little bit, you can. Excuse my reach. I'm going to grab a little bit. I want to take a little bit of this off here. So I just put a little bit of water on there so that I could take a little bit more of the back where I had it more of just a wash of color on there. I wanted to just go into the crackle more. I hope you can see that okay. It's actually crackled really nice. I really like this piece. So for a scrap of wood with just a stenciled word on there, not bad. Quick, oh, that light was totally on that. Quick little how you do crackle. And then all you got to do now is go ahead and spray it or brush coat your varnish on. I like a matte or a satin finish. I prefer a spray because it's quicker. So I take pieces out, I lay them down, I spray them. But here in San Diego, I don't have to worry about the cold and the snow like some of you do. But here, I can just take them out, spray them real quick, set them down, and they're ready to go. I don't like things that take a long time. I just don't have enough time to do things that take a long time. So I hope this was helpful. We'll do a better one, but here's a nice quick one for you. Thanks a bunch. And don't forget to visit Under the Lemon Tree. Thanks a bunch. Bye.